Have you ever heard of Among Us, Gregory? You need to vent.
Five Nights at Freddy's has had a big impact on the horror game genre and on me for over 7 years now, and whether or not you're a fan of the franchise, you have to admit that it is one of the faces of horror. Recently, the new installment Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach finally released, and there's so much to talk about. Not just the story, but the gameplay, the bugs, the speed runs, and the memes. Before we begin, subscribe if you're new here if you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's and Sonic to join the Ring Army. I'd really appreciate your support to help me reach 32,000 subscribers. Also, like the video if you enjoy my content. Thank you. So when I first heard about this game's announcement, I was clueless on what it was gonna be, until I heard that it was gonna be a free roaming game. That instantly got my attention. Now that the game is finally out to play, the trailers that were hyping up this game for over a year now were not really at all truthful to us. The trailers made this game look incredible, and the gameplay looked so fun and scary, and the visuals were so good looking. They also made it to where it was looking to be a very interesting plot and story. The colors were pretty, the music was intense and soothing, but all that became into a dream. Now, the game isn't all bad. The gameplay is fun and unique, given that it's the first ever official free roaming Five Nights at Freddy's game. The vibe to it is pretty decent, the music is catchy and memorable in my opinion. The story is simple, but the gameplay is what makes it at least enjoyable. Digging into the game and how it runs, it's not the best work, at least it's not finished and polished. I don't hate on Steelwool because I know that it's not a big company and this is their first project, or so I've heard, that it was original and not a remake like FNAF Help Wanted. I heard that the company only has like over a dozen employees, so I don't really blame them for this game to be not the best at running. This game has so many bugs and glitches to the point where the AIs are so easily fooled and escapable. The AIs have to be one of the most broken things in this game. Like if Chico or Roxy is chasing you in a small area, if you hide behind a wall or trash can mid-chase, they will lose you. It's unfinished and it has to be worked on some more. Speaking of bugs and glitches, there are a ton more. One of them is where the animatronics will legit catch you behind a door or wall if their arms clip through the object. Others will be when they will catch you when you're inside of Freddy. I remember the first time I passed the daycare mission and Sun banned me, I got inside Freddy and started walking up the stairs and Monty was chilling next to them. I walked past and he somehow caught me. This also happened when the moon guy was out and I was inside Freddy about to leave the plex and he caught me. Again, I don't blame Steelwool. I personally thank them for this game because I like it so much, but the AIs are a problem. Next we have is Vanny. Oh my god, Vanny. I think I can speak for everyone when I say this. They did Vanny dirty. Like full on bombed on her. In the trailers of this game, they were showing a ton of Vanny and her character seemed like it was going to be a big part of this game and that she was going to be the big villain throughout the game and she was going to be a challenge to deal with. But that's not the case, unfortunately. Vanny barely had any screen time throughout the whole game, but when she does appear, she's only around for like a few seconds up to a minute, because most of the time she is chasing you. Everyone would have heavily wanted more of Vanny, and that the fact that the trailers were giving her so much character, and in the final product she was just like a cameo, it was pretty bad for Five Nights at Freddy's fans who were expecting more of her. Next we have are the save slots and the lack of directions. The save slots are heavily dependent on because this game does not have auto saves most of the time and it can be very challenging for some points throughout the game. Like when you have done a lot of progress, you have to go find a save slot and save, but if you get caught and die, you restart all the way back to when you last saved and that can be very frustrating. Now, the lack of directions. This game's map does not make sense at all. Nothing is labeled on the map, so you have to go find the spot you are told to go yourself, and that is a very bad thing. Let's say when you complete a mission and Freddy tells you where to go next, but you missed what he said. I mean, you can go check the missions, but the point is that there are no simple directions at all. Freddy also says that he pins the next location where you have to go, but he doesn't do it. There aren't even like footprints or arrows to show where you have to go next. Something like in BioShock would be great, please. I would also like to talk about the stuttering in renders. I play on the PlayStation 5, so I'm on console and I knew this game was not gonna run at 100%, but I didn't know it was gonna be bad. 7 out of 10 times I would experience stuttering and freezes. This game is cool, but this is another big problem. Games are supposed to be enjoyed and fun to look around and play through it, but this game doesn't really allow that. The game is playable, but just don't expect it to run smoothly. I heard that even the master PCs can't run this game smoothly. That's definitely saying something. The renders, right. They're okay and also bad. Alright, so from afar, the graphics and visuals are beautiful. Like, it is great to look at it. But from up close, not so much. It looks like PS2 renders when you go and observe the things in the game. Again, not blaming Steelwall. Now, is it scary? Yes and no. Okay, when you're hiding and running around passing the robots in an open area and lit room, no, it's not scary, obviously. Even when they're hunting you in a small area isn't scary. I'd say the security bots and map bot are the scariest animatronics. The jump scares aren't scary, but when you're not expecting them, well, duh, it's scary. The only part I'd say is the scariest is the parts and service part with the red light, green light endoskeletons. That part was challenging and scary. Other than that, it's just a fun game of cat and mouse with robots. Speaking of robots, these animatronics don't feel like animatronics. It feels more like people in fursuits. These animatronics are so advanced that they have feelings that they move humanly like. Nothing like animatronics. The endings were, disappointing. I can see why people hate the endings because they don't make much sense and they're not satisfying. I also don't really like how most of the endings are comics instead of beautiful animated cutscenes. It's like they ran out of budget mid making the game or something. I don't know what they were doing, but I just really hoped that they were, there would be more animated cutscenes. Now for the things that I love about the game. First one being, I love the concept of the cat and mouse gameplay, reminding me so much of Hello Neighbor or Dead by Daylight. Just hiding and passing in animatronics is fun for me, and the fact that it's Five Nights at Freddy's themed made it so much better. Next thing I love is the art style and the location this game has and takes place in. I like the 80s 90s theme of this game. The neon lights and colors, the holograms, and just all the bright and colorful art and visuals. I wish there was a place like this in California. Well, this is Las Vegas, but that's like 4 hours away. The location was an excellent place to have this game take place in. I love when games have a mall location where you can explore in. This place is freaking huge, by the way. I am happy with it. I also love the animated cutscenes in this game. It's just beautifully made and I wish we had more than just what we got. Everyone wishes that the endings were animated because the comics were cool, but they weren't as cool as the animated cutscenes we got before. And the last thing I want to talk about real quick is the future DLC for this game. I heard that there's going to be new stuff added to the game in the future, and I'm praying that this new DLC will give us some closure and new information to clear the air a bit. I also hope that there's more Vanny in it and there's more story revolving around her. So that was everything I thought about the game. It's a fun journey but a buggy one. If you ask me, $40 is a lot for an unfinished game. There should have been at least $20 to $25 at best. I'm glad they didn't charge a full $60 because it is not worth that much. This game is full of fun and frustrating trips and it is fun watching and exploring the Pizzaplex. If you want to have at least a decent play with a bunch of little scares, hiding and fighting, this might be the game for you. I rate this game at least a 6.5 to 6.7 out of 10. This game could be saved if all the glitches and bugs were fixed and if there will be more content to be added. Hope you guys found my review helpful and fair. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe with post notifications on. Please and thank you. Well, that's all for today. I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye!